Ladies and gentlemen, we live in an age where information flows constantly, and every decision we make carries weight. In this era of rapid connectivity, we must be discerning about what we share with others, particularly in the digital world. Let's examine 5 things you must never share, not just in 2025, but moving forward, if you wish to maintain your integrity, security, and well-being. In today's digital age, personal data has become one of the most valuable commodities, but also one of the most vulnerable. From your name and address to your email and phone number, the information we so casually share can be misused in ways we often don't fully comprehend. Each time we sign up for a service or share something on social media, we are putting pieces of ourselves out into a world that is not always kind or considerate with such treasures. The reality is that once your personal data is out there, you lose control over it. It can be sold, bought, or stolen, and once compromised, it's incredibly difficult to regain your privacy. Hackers are becoming more sophisticated, and companies, whether knowingly or unknowingly, may expose your information through inadequate security measures. We live in a time when your personal details can be used to track you, manipulate your behavior, or even steal your identity. In many cases, sharing personal data can lead to immediate consequences, such as being bombarded with unwanted solicitations or falling victim to scams. Yet the longer-term effects are often more insidious. Identity theft, for instance, can take years to fully resolve and cause irreparable damage to your credit, your reputation, and even your emotional well-being. Your data is often linked to your financial stability, making it a critical area to protect at all costs. When it comes to sharing personal data, one of the most important practices is being discerning about who you trust. If you're not sure about the security of a website, service, or individual asking for your data, take a step back. Ask yourself, what is the necessity of sharing this information? Could there be negative consequences if this data were to fall into the wrong hands? In many cases, the answer is yes, and that is a powerful motivator to limit what you share. Moreover, it's essential to use available tools to protect your data. Two-factor authentication, strong and unique passwords, and the regular monitoring of your accounts are just a few of the basic yet critical practices that can safeguard your privacy. Encryption and privacy settings, too, can serve as important barriers, limiting who can access your data and how it's shared. The consequences of ignoring the need to guard your personal data may not be immediate, but they will catch up to you. Once that data is exposed, it's nearly impossible to erase it completely. Your financial information is one of the most valuable and sensitive assets you have, and protecting it should be a top priority. The digital landscape has made it easier than ever for individuals and organizations to gain access to personal financial details, often without your direct consent or knowledge. From bank account numbers to credit card details, investment portfolios to online payment systems, every piece of financial data you share carries a significant risk if it falls into the wrong hands. Every time you share financial information, whether it's for an online purchase, a subscription service, or even in a casual conversation, you open the door to potential misuse. Cybercriminals target financial data because it gives them the ability to directly access your funds, make unauthorized transactions, or steal your identity. The consequences of such breaches can be catastrophic, leaving you financially vulnerable, having to deal with the complexities of restoring accounts, and potentially losing your hard-earned money. Furthermore, financial information isn't just limited to what's in your wallet or bank account. It also includes details like your income, spending habits, and credit score. These pieces of information shape how others see you and how they interact with you, whether it's a bank, a potential employer, or even an insurance company. Sharing such information without careful consideration can leave you exposed to manipulation, bad investments, or even identity theft. Once your financial behavior is out there, it can be scrutinized and used against you in various ways. It's crucial to understand that sharing financial information with the wrong people, whether through insecure digital platforms or with individuals who don't have your best interests at heart, can lead to long-lasting consequences. It may not seem like a big deal in the moment to share a credit card number for a one-time purchase or to disclose your salary to someone you trust. But the reality is that these actions create a digital footprint that can be exploited, even years down the line. Fraudulent schemes, data leaks, and hackers know how to capitalize on seemingly harmless bits of information. Take steps to safeguard your financial privacy by keeping sensitive data close and limiting its exposure. For example, when making purchases online, ensure you're using secure websites that offer encryption and double-check the legitimacy of the business you're dealing with. Utilize secure payment methods like PayPal or digital wallets, which add layers of protection. And be cautious when sharing financial information with others. Before disclosing anything, consider the risks and ask yourself if it's truly necessary. Moreover, monitor your financial accounts regularly for any suspicious activity. Early detection of fraud or a breach can save you from larger financial losses down the road. It's also wise to use strong, unique passwords for your financial accounts and to take advantage of two-factor authentication wherever possible. This simple practice can greatly reduce the chances of unauthorized access to your accounts, adding an extra layer of security that protects you from threats. In short, financial privacy is not something to be taken lightly. In today's interconnected world, where data is often more valuable than currency, you must treat your financial information as a precious resource. Guard it with vigilance, restrict its exposure, and always remain cautious about whom you trust with it. Doing so will not only protect your wealth, but will also preserve your sense of security and peace of mind in an increasingly unpredictable world. We live in an era where information is being shared constantly and rapidly. While this has undeniable benefits, it also comes with a significant responsibility. One of the most dangerous things you can do in this environment is to spread misinformation, whether intentionally or unintentionally. The consequences of disseminating false or distorted information can be far-reaching, harming not just individuals but entire communities and societies. The core issue with spreading misinformation is that it undermines trust. Trust is the foundation upon which we build relationships, businesses, and even entire nations. When information is misrepresented, manipulated, or outright false, it creates a ripple effect that erodes that trust. It causes confusion, fear, and division, whether on a global scale or within our own personal circles. Once trust is broken, it's incredibly difficult to rebuild, and the damage done by misinformation can persist long after the original message was shared. In many cases, misinformation isn't just harmless speculation or innocent error. It can have life-altering consequences. Consider the impact of false medical information, political manipulation, or misleading financial advice. In today's digital age, misinformation spreads like wildfire, especially on social media platforms, where people are more likely to believe and share something that confirms their existing biases. When such information is shared widely, it can influence people's health choices, voting decisions, or even how they treat one another. One of the biggest risks associated with spreading misinformation is that it takes on a life of its own. What might begin as a single tweet, a viral post, or a word-of-mouth story can quickly snowball, gaining momentum with each passing hour. Before long, the false narrative becomes so widespread that it's difficult to discern fact from fiction. This is how conspiracy theories, urban legends, and other forms of misinformation become ingrained in society, creating confusion and fostering mistrust. It's crucial to recognize the role that each of us plays in curbing the spread of misinformation. Before you share something, whether it's a statistic, a quote, or even a personal anecdote, ask yourself, is this verified? Can I trace it back to a reputable source? Is it likely to be true, or does it simply align with a particular narrative I want to believe? These questions should guide your decision to share information. Just because something resonates with your worldview or confirms a suspicion you hold doesn't mean it's factual or helpful to share. The act of verifying information before passing it along is not only an act of personal responsibility, but a commitment to the well-being of others. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of a sensational headline or an emotional story. However, when we spread something that isn't true, we risk causing harm. Our influence, whether we recognize it or not, is far-reaching. Each piece of misinformation that we share has the potential to change how others view the world, and not in a positive way. Another aspect of being wary of spreading misinformation is recognizing that it's not always deliberate. Sometimes we share information because it sounds plausible or fits into the narrative we're already familiar with. But in an age where fake news, clickbait headlines, and sensationalist stories are prevalent, it's more important than ever to pause and think critically about the information we encounter. Ultimately, the responsibility falls on all of us to be gatekeepers of the information we consume and share. We must make an active effort to engage in the truth, even if it challenges our beliefs or our emotions. We should encourage others to verify information, to question sources, and to think before they click the share button. By doing so, we contribute to a healthier, more informed society where trust and integrity are valued and misinformation no longer runs rampant. In the modern world, where so much of our personal and professional lives are lived online, our passwords serve as the keys to our digital existence. They protect our emails, bank accounts, social media profiles, and sensitive work information. They are a line of defense against those who would seek to exploit or harm us. With this in mind, we must treat our passwords as sacred and recognize that they carry a weight far beyond just a string of characters. The first step in valuing your passwords is understanding their importance. Every password you use is an entry point into your personal life, whether it's accessing your financial information, logging into your social media accounts, or even unlocking your phone. A compromised password can mean the loss of data, identity theft, financial fraud, or the complete collapse of your online security. Once someone has access to your passwords, they have the power to invade your privacy, impersonate you, and cause untold damage to your reputation or well-being. One of the most common mistakes people make is using the same password across multiple accounts. While it's tempting to keep things simple, using the same password for everything significantly increases your vulnerability. If one account is compromised, say through a data breach or weak security, it opens the door for a hacker to gain access to all your other accounts. This is a simple yet dangerous oversight. Passwords should be unique, complex, and difficult to guess. In addition to creating unique passwords, we must also practice password hygiene. This means changing passwords regularly and ensuring that they're not based on easily guessable information, like birthdays, pet names, or common phrases. A strong password typically includes a combination of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and special characters, anything that would make it harder for someone to guess or crack. Simple passwords like password 123 or QWERTY are not just ineffective, they're an invitation for hackers to bypass your defenses. One of the best tools in modern password security is two-factor authentication, 2FA. 2FA adds an additional layer of protection by requiring a second form of verification, such as a text message or app notification, before granting access to an account. Even if a hacker manages to steal your password, they won't be able to access your account without the second form of verification. Using 2FA whenever possible should be non-negotiable in today's increasingly insecure digital landscape. While it's easy to assume that our passwords are safe, the reality is that they can be compromised in a number of ways. Phishing attacks, where hackers trick you into revealing your login information, are a growing concern. Emails, texts, or websites that seem legitimate may ask for your username and password. Always be wary of unsolicited requests for your login information, and double-check URLs and sender addresses before clicking on anything suspicious. Password managers are also incredibly useful tools in safeguarding your digital life. They allow you to generate and store complex passwords for every account, ensuring you don't have to rely on memory alone. Instead of using weak, recycled passwords, a password manager lets you store unique, secure passwords for every site, all while keeping them encrypted and easily accessible. Ultimately, your passwords are the keys to your digital world, and they must be treated with the same care and reverence you would give to any physical key that protects your home, car, or valuables. By taking responsibility for creating strong, unique passwords and using additional security measures like 2FA, you protect not just your personal information, but your peace of mind. In a world where digital threats are ever present, passwords are not just a tool, they are a sacred line of defense that must be guarded at all costs. In our interconnected world, it's easy to forget the importance of emotional boundaries. We live in an era where we're encouraged to be open, to share, to connect on a deep level with others. While vulnerability and openness are crucial for genuine human relationships, we must recognize that not every person, situation, or environment is safe or healthy for us to open up completely. Establishing and maintaining emotional boundaries is not just a personal choice. It is an act of self-preservation and respect for both ourselves and others. First, it's important to understand that emotional boundaries are not walls. They are guidelines for protecting your emotional well-being while still allowing you to engage authentically with others. These boundaries help define where your feelings, needs, and responsibilities end and where those of others begin. When you set clear emotional boundaries, you are essentially saying, I will honor my own emotions and needs, and I will respect yours, but I won't let mine be taken advantage of or manipulated. One of the most significant dangers of not having emotional boundaries is the risk of being manipulated or drained by others. People with poor emotional boundaries may find themselves in relationships or situations where they constantly give, but never receive. Their emotional energy is exhausted by others' demands or manipulations, and over time, this can lead to feelings of resentment, burnout, or even emotional trauma. It's easy to get caught up in trying to please others, especially if you've been conditioned to think that your worth is tied to how much you give or sacrifice. But the truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. To be truly present for others, you must first care for your own emotional needs. Another issue with not setting emotional boundaries is the potential for being exposed to harmful people or toxic environments. Not everyone in your life has your best interests at heart, and some people may take advantage of your openness or vulnerability. Whether it's a coworker who constantly dumps their emotional baggage on you, a friend who expects you to always listen without reciprocating, or a partner who uses your emotional vulnerabilities against you, having clear boundaries protects you from being exploited or manipulated. Recognizing when someone is crossing a line and asserting your right to emotional space is essential for your mental health and well-being. Emotional boundaries also allow you to create healthier, more balanced relationships. When you are clear about what you are and are not willing to tolerate, you make it easier for others to understand how to interact with you in a respectful and loving way. Healthy boundaries foster mutual respect, trust, and understanding. When both people in a relationship respect each other's emotional limits, the bond deepens and the relationship becomes more fulfilling. Moreover, emotional boundaries contribute to personal growth. By maintaining your emotional autonomy, you create space for yourself to pursue your own goals, values, and interests, independent of others' expectations. You're able to nurture your sense of self without constantly being influenced by the emotional states or demands of others. This is not about being selfish. It's about recognizing your own needs and being honest with yourself about what you need to feel healthy, grounded, and whole. Setting and maintaining emotional boundaries is a skill that takes practice. It requires self-awareness, the ability to recognize your limits, and the courage to assert them, even when it's uncomfortable. It may mean saying no to certain people or situations that drain you or make you feel unworthy. It could involve cutting ties with toxic individuals who continually overstep your boundaries. It also means being able to express your emotions honestly and authentically without the fear of judgment or rejection. In the end, emotional boundaries are essential for cultivating a life that is balanced, healthy, and fulfilling. They allow you to protect your emotional energy, honor your own needs, and build relationships that are rooted in respect and mutual understanding. By setting clear emotional boundaries, you are not only preserving your own well-being, but you are also creating an environment in which others can engage with you in a meaningful and healthy way. In the digital age where personal experiences and thoughts are often just a click away from being shared with the world, the dangers of oversharing are more prominent than ever. Oversharing is not just about revealing too much personal information. It's about the loss of control over that information, the boundaries that are crossed, and the unintended consequences that can arise from making private matters public. The most immediate danger of oversharing is the potential for a loss of privacy. Once something is posted online, it is nearly impossible to fully erase. Even if you delete a post, a photo, or a message, it can still exist in other corners of the internet, archived by others, or stored in a database somewhere. The things you share may not only be seen by the people you intend, but can be shared and reshared by others, amplifying its reach and impact far beyond what you originally intended. Personal details, which were once part of your private life, are now publicly accessible and can be used against you or manipulated in ways you never. Another danger of oversharing is the impact it can have on your reputation. In our connected world, people are quick to form judgments based on what they see online. What might seem like a harmless post or a fleeting emotional moment can be misinterpreted, misrepresented, or taken out of context. A single misstep in what you share can alter how others perceive you, especially when it's related to your personal beliefs, relationships, or even a temporary lapse in judgment. The risk of being publicly shamed or canceled has become a very real possibility for many people in the digital era, and oversharing puts you at greater risk of this happening. Oversharing can also strain relationships, whether it's airing grievances about a partner, a family member, or a friend. Putting private issues on display can damage trust and intimacy. Relationships thrive on mutual respect, privacy, and understanding. When personal matters are shared with an audience, whether it's a few hundred followers or a broader online community, it can lead to misunderstandings, hurt feelings, or even the breakdown of the relationship. In some cases, the people closest to you may feel betrayed or vulnerable, knowing that their private lives are now part of the public sphere. The emotional toll of oversharing should not be underestimated. While social media and online platforms can create the illusion of connection, they can also foster feelings of loneliness, isolation, and vulnerability. By revealing too much about yourself, you might invite unwanted judgment or attention, which can be emotionally draining. Constantly sharing personal updates in search of validation or approval can create a cycle of dependence on external affirmation, leaving you feeling unfulfilled when the response isn't what you expected. Furthermore, the exposure to unsolicited advice, criticism, or negativity from strangers can take a heavy emotional toll, especially when it's about matters that are deeply personal to you. In addition, oversharing can also expose you to more practical dangers, such as identity theft or physical harm. When you reveal too much personal information, you risk putting yourself in situations where others can manipulate or exploit you. Posting details about your whereabouts, your daily routines, or your plans can make you an easy target for scammers or burglars. Hackers and malicious actors also thrive on the information you provide, using it to gather data, impersonate you, or steal your identity. You may unknowingly give away information that allows them to access your financial accounts or private communications. Finally, oversharing diminishes the ability to control your narrative. When you share too much, you allow others to define your story for you, whether it's through the comments they leave, the assumptions they make, or the way they react to what you've posted. You're surrendering control over your own image. Maintaining some degree of mystery and privacy is vital to protect your autonomy and ensure that your life remains your own. The moments that you choose to keep for yourself, the boundaries you set, and the experiences you choose to savor privately are what keep you grounded and authentic. In the end, oversharing is a slippery slope. While it may seem harmless to share small snippets of your life or feelings with others, doing so too often can create significant risks. The key is to recognize the importance of privacy, respect the boundaries of others, and understand the long-term consequences of revealing too much. By striking the right balance between openness and discretion, you can protect yourself from the dangers of oversharing while still cultivating meaningful connections and experiences. In a world increasingly dominated by digital interactions, protecting your identity has never been more crucial. Our identities are no longer defined solely by physical documents, but by the vast array of personal information we leave behind in online spaces. From our financial details to social media profiles, from our email addresses to our daily routines, nearly every aspect of our lives is stored and shared across various platforms. This makes identity protection not just a matter of convenience, but a fundamental necessity for safeguarding your privacy, security, and overall well-being. The primary risk of not protecting your identity is identity theft, a crime that can leave you financially devastated and emotionally drained. When someone gains access to your personal information, whether through hacking, phishing, or simple data breaches, they can assume your identity and wreak havoc on your finances, credit, and reputation. Once your personal information is compromised, it can be used to open fraudulent accounts, apply for loans in your name, or even commit crimes while impersonating you. Rebuilding your identity after such an event is an incredibly lengthy, costly, and stressful process. The repercussions of identity theft don't end at financial loss. It can also cause emotional distress. Imagine the anxiety of discovering that your bank accounts have been emptied or that your social media accounts have been hijacked. You may find yourself caught up in lengthy disputes with financial institutions, law enforcement, or credit agencies, all while dealing with the fallout of your personal and professional reputation being tarnished. This is the reality many people face when they don't take steps to protect their identities. One of the most basic yet crucial ways to protect your identity is by managing your passwords. Passwords are the first line of defense against unauthorized access to your accounts. Using weak or recycled passwords across multiple sites increases your risk exponentially. Strong, unique passwords, along with two-factor authentication, 2FA, add layers of protection that make it harder for hackers to break into your accounts. Don't underestimate the value of a secure password. It's often the only thing standing between you and identity theft. Beyond passwords, it's vital to be vigilant about what you share and with whom. Avoid oversharing personal information, especially on social media platforms where the details you provide can be pieced together to build a detailed profile of your life. Information like your birthday, your mother's maiden name, or your pet's name may seem innocent at the time, but these are often the same questions used to verify your identity in security checks. The more personal details you disclose, the easier it is for someone to gain access to your accounts. Additionally, never provide sensitive information, such as your social security number, to unfamiliar websites or over unsecured channels. Be cautious when clicking on links or opening attachments in unsolicited emails. Phishing attacks, in which attackers masquerade as trusted entities in order to steal your login credentials or other sensitive information, are one of the most common ways criminals gain access to your identity. Before clicking, always verify the sender's email address and look for signs that the email may be fake, such as generic greetings, suspicious links, or urgent requests for information. Another key element of identity protection is monitoring your financial accounts and credit reports regularly. Catching any unusual activity early can prevent further damage and help you resolve issues before they spiral out of control. Many financial institutions and credit bureaus offer services that allow you to set up alerts for any changes to your accounts or credit score. Being proactive in checking for signs of fraud or misuse can significantly reduce the risk of long-term harm. Using encryption, secure browsing practices, and privacy settings is essential when protecting your identity online. Encryption tools can protect the data you send and receive, making it unreadable to anyone trying to intercept it. Always use secure websites, denoted by DMS, when entering sensitive information, and avoid conducting financial transactions over public Wi-Fi networks which are more vulnerable to attacks. Additionally, adjust your privacy settings on social media platforms to limit who can see your posts and personal details. If you suspect that your identity has been compromised, act immediately. Contact your bank or credit card companies, freeze your credit, and report the issue to the relevant authorities. The faster you take action, the less damage will be done. It's also important to file a report with the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, or local law enforcement so they can assist you in resolving the issue and monitoring for any further fraudulent activity. Ultimately, identity protection is about taking proactive steps to shield your personal and financial information from potential threats. It's about recognizing the value of your identity, understanding the risks that come with sharing personal data, and making informed decisions about what information to protect and how to do so. By safeguarding your identity, you protect more than just your privacy. You protect your future, your security, and your peace of mind in an increasingly digital world. In today's interconnected world, everything you do online leaves behind a trace, a digital footprint. This footprint consists of the data, interactions, and content you produce across the internet, whether intentional or not. From the social media posts you share to the comments you leave, from the websites you visit to the photos you upload, all of it forms a part of your digital legacy. While you may believe that deleting something means it's gone forever, the reality is that your digital footprint can never truly be erased. Once something is shared or uploaded online, it exists in the vast web of data. Even if you delete a post or close an account, there's no guarantee that the information is entirely removed. Copies can be stored on servers, cached in search engines, or archived in places that are out of your control. In many cases, your data may still exist in the background, accessible to others through other platforms, search engines, or even hacking incidents. In other words, once your information is out there, it can be nearly impossible to fully eliminate it. One of the primary reasons your digital footprint can't be erased is the interconnected nature of the internet. What you share doesn't only stay on the platform where it was originally posted, it can be replicated, shared, and reshared by others. Think of how easily an image, video, or quote can go viral. Even if you delete the original post, copies might still exist on someone else's phone, website, or social media profile. The moment you publish or share anything online, you lose complete control over who has access to it and how it might be used in the future. Your digital footprint also extends beyond what you intentionally share. Even without posting or uploading content, your online activity is still tracked and recorded. Websites track your visits, apps monitor your usage, and various services collect data about your browsing habits. This data, whether it's from shopping, searching, or even just reading an article, paints a detailed picture of who you are. Companies use this information to create targeted ads, make recommendations, and sometimes even sell your data to third parties. While some platforms allow you to delete your account or manage your privacy settings, this data is often stored elsewhere and may not be entirely under your control. The implications of an indelible digital footprint are far-reaching. In the present, it can affect your privacy and security. If you're not careful about what you share, sensitive information, like your personal data or even your location can be exposed to malicious actors, scammers, or identity thieves. In the future, your digital footprint can affect your reputation. Employers, schools, and even potential romantic partners may search for you online before making decisions. What they find can have a lasting impact on how they view you, whether it's a regrettable post from years ago, a controversial comment, or a photo you thought would disappear. It's also important to consider that some parts of your digital footprint might not accurately represent who you are or what you believe anymore. We all evolve, change, and grow over time, but the things we leave behind online may not reflect our present selves. Old social media posts or photos from a past relationship, for example, might not align with the person you've become. Even if you've changed your views or opinions, what's left online can continue to impact how others perceive you. In light of these realities, it's crucial to be mindful of what you share online. Think before you post or comment, and consider the long-term consequences of making personal details public. While some aspects of your digital footprint are beyond your control, you can still take steps to minimize the impact. You can use privacy settings to control who sees your posts and limit the amount of personal information available on your social media profiles. Regularly audit your accounts, deleting old content that no longer aligns with who you are or what you want to share. And always be cautious when sharing sensitive information, whether it's your home address, phone number, or financial data. While you may never be able to completely erase your digital footprint, you do have control over the steps you take to manage it. Understanding that your online presence has lasting effects is key to navigating the digital world with greater awareness and responsibility. By being intentional with what you share and taking control over your online accounts, you can shape your digital footprint in a way that aligns with your values and protects your privacy. Privacy is often seen as a luxury or a secondary concern in today's hyper-connected world, where social media and digital platforms dominate our daily lives. But the truth is, privacy is not just a personal right. It's a fundamental pillar of freedom. Without privacy, we lose our autonomy, our ability to make choices freely, and the protection of our individuality. Privacy, in essence, is the boundary that allows us to live our lives on our terms, without interference, control, or judgment from others. It's the cornerstone upon which our personal freedom is built. In a society where surveillance is becoming increasingly common, the erosion of privacy has profound implications. Every time we share information online, make a purchase, or even have a conversation, we leave behind traces that can be used to track, analyze, and profile us. Companies, governments, and even malicious actors can access vast amounts of data about our preferences, behaviors, and movements. This constant surveillance doesn't just invade our personal space, it chips away at our ability to think, speak, and act freely, without the fear of being watched or judged. Privacy gives us the ability to choose when and how we share parts of our lives. It allows us to protect our personal thoughts, feelings, and experiences from the prying eyes of others. When we lose control over our private information, we are at risk of being manipulated, exploited, or even coerced. Whether it's in the workplace, in relationships, or in society at large, without privacy, we open ourselves up to the potential for manipulation. Others can use our personal data to influence our decisions, shape our opinions, or even control our actions. Consider how essential privacy is to creativity and self-expression. The freedom to explore, experiment, and express our true selves without fear of judgment or repercussion requires a space in which we can exist without being constantly observed. When we have privacy, we can explore ideas, make mistakes, and grow without the pressure of external scrutiny. Without it, we may self-censor, limit our potential, and suppress our true desires or ambitions out of fear that others will see, criticize, or exploit our vulnerabilities. Privacy also safeguards our autonomy and personal dignity. It is the right to make decisions about our own lives, our bodies, and our identities without outside interference. This is particularly critical when it comes to sensitive matters like medical records, financial information, or personal relationships. If we don't have control over who accesses this information, we risk losing the very agency that allows us to make informed choices about our own lives. Personal privacy ensures that we are free to live authentically without being dictated by the expectations or demands of others. Another important aspect of privacy is that it enables trust in relationships, whether it's with family, friends, or partners. Trust is built on mutual respect for each other's boundaries and privacy. When privacy is compromised, so too is trust. If we feel that our personal space is constantly invaded or that our secrets are no longer safe, it becomes difficult to build meaningful, healthy connections. Conversely, when we are granted privacy, we feel respected, valued, and free to engage in relationships based on openness and understanding without the fear of being exposed or judged. On a larger scale, privacy is a safeguard for democracy itself. In a society where citizens' actions, opinions, and communications are constantly under surveillance, the very foundation of democratic freedom is threatened. Privacy ensures that individuals can participate in society, whether through voting, activism, or self-actualization, without fear of retaliation or punishment. Without privacy, people may feel pressure to conform, remain silent, or abandon their rights in order to avoid scrutiny or persecution. This erosion of freedom leads to a chilling effect, where people are reluctant to express dissent or engage in meaningful debates. Lastly, privacy is crucial for maintaining our mental and emotional well-being. Constantly feeling exposed, watched, or judged can lead to anxiety, stress, and a sense of helplessness. When we have the ability to choose when and how we share information, we are able to protect ourselves from external pressures and emotional harm. Having control over our personal data and experiences allows us to live without the fear that our every action is being monitored or analyzed. This sense of autonomy is vital for our overall mental health, happiness, and sense of security. In conclusion, privacy is not just a right, it is the very essence of our freedom. It allows us to live authentically, protect our personal information, and engage with the world on our own terms. Without privacy, we risk losing our autonomy, our dignity, and our ability to express ourselves without fear. In a world where the line between the public and private is becoming increasingly blurred, we must defend our privacy as an essential part of safeguarding our personal freedom and the future of our society. In a world where we're encouraged to share our lives, opinions, and experiences online, there's a fine line between offering meaningful insights and exposing ourselves in ways that might not serve our best interests. The digital age has made it easier than ever to connect, but it's also created a culture where vulnerability is often seen as a virtue, leading many to share deeply personal details or emotions that could be better kept for a more private space. While sharing wisdom can uplift, empower, and connect us, sharing too much of our vulnerabilities can expose us to risks that compromise our well-being and security. Wisdom is a valuable form of sharing. It's the knowledge and insights we've gained through experience, reflection, and learning, and it has the potential to benefit others. When we share wisdom, we elevate the conversation, contributing to the growth and development of those around us. Wisdom doesn't need to come with personal baggage or emotional weight. It can be shared from a place of strength, maturity, and insight. By sharing wisdom, we offer others guidance and support without leaving ourselves open to being judged or manipulated. It's a way to positively impact others while maintaining healthy boundaries that protect our personal selves. Vulnerability, on the other hand, has its place when shared in the right context and with the right people. But the constant act of opening up about your emotions, struggles, or personal challenges online can expose you in ways that make it difficult to retain control over your narrative. The internet is a public space, and once something is shared, it is often out of our hands. Vulnerabilities are deeply personal, and when shared with an audience that doesn't have your best interests at heart, it can lead to unintended consequences such as judgment, exploitation, or even ridicule. Even if you feel supported in the moment, once that information is public, you have no way of knowing how it will be used or who will see it. Sharing wisdom, as opposed to vulnerabilities, allows us to contribute positively to the world while protecting our emotional and mental health. Instead of revealing intimate details about ourselves, we can focus on offering advice, reflections, and lessons learned that can help others navigate their own challenges. This way we contribute to a larger conversation without exposing our most sensitive aspects. Wisdom is an empowering form of sharing. It's about offering tools, insights, and perspectives that don't diminish us, but instead elevate us and those we interact with. On the flip side, excessive vulnerability in public forums can lead to a loss of personal boundaries. When we are too open about our fears, insecurities, or personal struggles, we risk oversharing and losing control over the aspects of our lives that should remain private. In a time where everyone is constantly comparing themselves to others, being too transparent can sometimes lead to feelings of inadequacy, regret, or self-doubt. Instead of gaining understanding or support, we may invite unsolicited advice or negative commentary, which can further erode our confidence and sense of self. Furthermore, in sharing vulnerabilities, there's a potential for exploitation. The more others know about your weaknesses or challenges, the more they can use that information to their advantage. Whether it's a manipulative person who preys on your emotional state, or a company that takes advantage of your personal struggles for marketing purposes, vulnerability can leave you exposed in ways that sharing wisdom simply does not. Wisdom, on the other hand, doesn't give others the power to manipulate your emotions or use your experiences against you. It's also important to remember that wisdom is timeless, whereas vulnerabilities can be fleeting. The insights you share today may continue to resonate with others for years to come, even as your own circumstances change. Vulnerabilities, however, are often tied to specific moments in time, emotions, challenges, or struggles that may be temporary or have since been overcome. What feels urgent or overwhelming in the moment may not be as significant later, but once it's out there, it can stay online indefinitely, potentially affecting how others view you long after your situation has passed. While being vulnerable can help create deeper connections and empathy, it's important to recognize the value of discretion. Not every piece of your life needs to be shared with the world, especially in environments where context can be lost or where your words may be twisted. By sharing wisdom, we offer others the opportunity to grow without exposing ourselves to potential harm. We allow our experiences to guide and teach others without leaving ourselves vulnerable to the unpredictable nature of the digital world. In the end, it's about balance. Wisdom should be shared to uplift and support, while vulnerabilities should be reserved for trusted, intimate spaces where they can be met with understanding and compassion. By choosing to share wisdom, not vulnerabilities, we protect our emotional well-being, maintain our personal boundaries, and contribute meaningfully to the world without compromising our sense of self. As we navigate this digital age, it's vital that we remember the power and responsibility that comes with what we choose to share. We live in a time where every action, every thought, and every feeling can be broadcasted to the world at the click of a button. But with this power comes the need for discernment. Share wisdom, not vulnerabilities. Guard your personal data and be conscious of your digital footprint. Understand that privacy equals freedom and that your identity is a treasure worth protecting. In the end, it's the ability to choose what to share and what to keep to yourself that truly empowers you. We must be intentional in how we present ourselves, mindful of how much we expose, and thoughtful about the impact our words and actions can have, not only on ourselves, but on those around us. Protect your boundaries, and in doing so, protect your freedom. Share your wisdom to inspire, guide, and uplift others, but know when to hold back the personal details that might make you vulnerable to harm. In a world where everything is connected, your ability to maintain your privacy and integrity is what will allow you to thrive. You are the guardian of your own story, and the decisions you make today will shape the legacy you leave behind. So, let's step forward with confidence, with respect for ourselves and others, and with the understanding that while sharing is important, knowing what to share is what will truly empower us. Thank you.